Do you know that it's 2025 right now? We're done with 2024. It's over. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you today. We just talked about having digital twins that are coming in the new year. We're talking about the Marvel movies, the DC movies that are coming out in 2025. Influencers, we're talking about people using OF and they're not even showing anything but their feet. I thought it was really interesting what we were talking about. And I know I'm totally butchering this intro, but that's what 2025 is all about, doing new things.
Mr. Benja, you're right, man. We got a lot of great things we're going to talk about, man. But really more importantly, it's about holistically. 2025 is going to be a year of change and you're not ready. Hey, everyone, this is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. Mr. Benja, what's going on with you?
Man, what's going on with me? What's going on with you? What's going on with us, them, they, the United States of America, and the entire populace of the GD world? Let me tell you. And I don't know if people say GD anymore. I just think that's funny. But anyway, welcome to 2025, man. It's a new season we're kicking off. We've been doing this consistently for a bit. We're up to, what episode is this? 198. And man, I think we're going to have a good year of stuff to talk about. Not necessarily a good year, but a good year of stuff to talk about, because things are wild. And we talked about what happened in 2024 last episode. Now we're going to get into what we think is coming up. And we got some pretty interesting insights. I was looking at your notes and I know you saw some of mine. So yeah, man, we're about to get into it. We're about to fire it up for 2025. How you feeling about it?
I'm excited, man. We're getting into this pod. Another year, man. 2025. We are in the future. I say that every year, but we are, man. It's crazy to think this is the year of our Lord, 2025. Yeah, man. Yeah, as we record this holiday week, that fun time around Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, my son's birthday, New Year's Eve, New Year's. It's a lot going on. I'm just immersed in family and some rest. So family is good. I have a big family, so I had about 22 people at my house Christmas night for dinner.
Nice.
That was fun. So I had to set up the backyard, put up the...
Oh, you ran the show.
Oh, yeah. We had tables and food and all that good stuff, and setting up outside so people can sit down and the kids can play on the games out there with their toys and stuff like that. I got my son a PlayStation 5. Well, really got it for myself.
I was wondering if you were going to do that. You mentioned that before. I didn't know if you were going to do it.
Yeah, I still can't get into it all the way because I know me, once I start going too deep, it's over. So I think we got the Spider-Man 2 game and we got NBA 2K5. He's a big basketball player. He whooped me on NBA 2K5, so I got to start practicing there.
It started.
The 8-year-old, man, yeah, he can't beat me already, man, but I'm so out of it. Games is not even funny, but I'm just amazed at how many games are hard, man. You get one of those PlayStation 5s, it's downloadable games. You just, man, if I had this, when I was his age, I would never leave the house, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man.
It's crazy. So anyway, my daughter she's a girly girl, so a lot of skin stuff, skincare, clothes, things like that. So she had fun. So yeah, man, it was a good Christmas, man. Still enjoying the downtime and deep thinking time. I love the holidays for that.
Yeah, it rolls into New Year for me, and that's the season where I can really sit back, reflect, and think on things. At some point, New Year's became my favorite year because I can get brand new on people. And it's funny. People are like, why are you acting like that? I'm like, new year, new me. And they start tripping like, oh, you need the whatever. But it's New Year, so they let it go. But then I keep on doing it, and it just becomes the new me. It's fabulous.
I love it. Like Voltron, huh? Put on this new, changing it to new form, man. I love it.
Hey, it's funny. That thing I said about remarkable resolutions, I think I first mentioned that to you 2 years ago. I'm still going strong with that one, man. I'm like, I want to talk about and tell people my resolutions so badly, but I was out shopping for groceries, right? And saw this person I knew, this girl, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, homegirl?" I said, "Hey, how you doing?" We hugged, talked a little bit and everything. And she stopped and patted me on the shoulder. And she's like, "Yeah, you're looking a little slimmer. You're looking good." And I was like, "That's right. That's right." remarkable. You remarked about it, so it worked.
I love it, man. I love it. Oh man, what's been going on with you, man? How was your holidays?
Oh man, I said, man, it was very chill. I roll Christmas straight into New Year's, the new gift to myself, where I'm just like, what do I need to do to improve? I went back through a lot of my journals. We talked about Benjamin Hardy and Hormozy and all that. And I was like, you know what? Boom, this really worked for me. Let me double down on this part of it. This didn't work for me so much. Let me study it up a little bit and figure out what I'm stumbling over.
Great minds think alike. I've been doing the same thing, man. I just like that worked. That didn't work. And so I just do more of this.
Well,
Do less of this or switch it around a little bit. Yeah. I'm the same way, man. I was going through my journals. I did Ben Hardy. He did his little weekly. I did his weekly thing all the way up until October, and I slowed down a little bit. But I've been going back over that, and to your point, man, I was like, wow, you know what? That really worked, or this worked. And it does give you perspective, and it gives you that flight in your wings. It's okay, this is what I need to double down on for next year, to your point.
yeah, because when you have different people that you look up to, and this person says this, and this person says that, and then you have to resolve how you work it out for yourself. And it's okay, I'm trying to be hardcore, but every time I'm hardcore like this, it pushes away certain people. And at this stage of my life, I need these people and can't push them away. So I'm looking at Hormozy and I'm like, yeah, I can't push that hard because I'm just going to drive people away. And he openly talks about how he told his father, whatever guy. And I'm like, I can't do that right now. So how do I bridge that? And yeah, I found some interesting things to do. And I have another. I'm not. Should I drop it on this one? Should I drop it on
Hey,
this
man, do you, brother? Do you? Exclusive.
one? So for the new year, I'll go ahead and give you a hint. I'm still working it out, but basically, somewhere between Tiny Habits and by James Clear and Rapid Development by Benjamin Hardy. He has this whole idea of just change everything, throw away 80% of your life. It's old news and everything. Just the whole blow up kind of thing. Just destruct everything and start doing the new thing. James Clear, he's more, hey, listen, just take it one step at a time, do this and this. I found there are different classifications of change that I noticed different people not only pushing, but using successfully. And I've charted out, oh, okay, there are times when you're just like, think about the Statue of David. He's always talking about you chip away, and then there are basically three different phases. One where you chip something away and you're like chipping at it, you're chiseling. And then the second phase is where you take a big chunk and it's like, all right, I'm about to make this guy's nose a very particular way. And you have to do a really big hammer because you got to cut off a big chunk of his face. That's when you're chopping at it. You take these big chops. And then you have the whole thing where it's like a big change where you need to chunk the whole thing. You need to change your whole process. Like this marble isn't working, or this really is working. I need to call the Pope and tell him to have an unveiling. I need to invite him down here to see this. So you either have these little things where you're chiseling or you chop away, and that's your mid-level change. And then you chunk what you were doing and do a big change. And I noticed that nobody ever really talks about all three as different phases. They're like, just do the big change, do the rapid development. Okay, just do the little chiseling, just do the tiny habits or the atomic habits. That's another book, Tiny Habits. Or some people are just like, hey man, keep it consistent, do your thing. Exactly. All three of those need to be addressed. And just like a remarkable change, man, I'm jumping back and forth between these three different modes. And I'm like, this is wonderful.
No, I like that philosophy. I agree, man. I think it's more like tactical changes, right? And strategic changes. And so can you figure those out? And what are the big things to move things forward? And so I agree. I was listening to Hormozy the other day. He talked about that. He's really big on the theory of constraints. And right, what restraining your growth is there's something holding it back, and then focus all your attention on that. And within that, there's like little tactics that you can implement to make that happen. And so to your point, that's more like chipping away certain. How can you get like 5% more people looking at your website? So you can drive sales and leads up. That's real tactical. But then, the bigger thing is I need to get more sales for next year. I see that point. And to your point, is just like, then there's the Other thing is if you're doing art, you're revealing it to people, there has to be some kind of big understanding of what that looks like. So you can be consistent to get to that point when it is revealed. So yeah, man, I love that, man. Just had kind of way to frame it instead of, and then also I'm a big proponent of just the overwhelm. How do you prevent the overwhelm? Because there's so many things
Personal
you can do.
overwhelm, like within
Yeah.
yourself, or okay,
Yeah, for myself, and just because so much information is coming at you, and you realize I just can't do it all because I'm one of those guys. I used to walk around high school with the big backpack, and I put
yeah.
all my books in there, and I'll be like, that's probably why I got back problems to this day, man. So
Oh,
yeah, because just I'm gonna need this for tomorrow and this for tomorrow. I could never leave my books in a locker, and so I think for me personally, if I can chunk stuff up and start getting to the why I'm doing certain things, or is this important to do? And then realizing, for instance, I had this big project AI I was going to go down a path of, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get into the code and do all this stuff, which I could do. But I said, what? At this
yeah,
time in my life, at this stage, I shouldn't do that because I need to hire someone or bring someone in who can do that daily because things are changing so rapidly. I'll do something, get it working, and then literally a week later, it'll be out of date. So I'm
yeah,
not going to have the time and energy to do that. So it's probably more strategic, better decision for me to hire someone to help me in that path. Because yeah, I can understand at high level and do some basic stuff, but I need someone else to, like you said, do that consistent thing that you're gonna need. Yeah, I see your point, man. Having these kind of modes that kind of can help you prevent the overwhelm, at least for me as well.
yeah. You're right. That I think that is why I had to figure that out because I was trying to resolve these different ways of doing things. And I was like, okay, what's going to work for me and my obstacles? And I was like, oh, while I'm climbing the hill, I need to make sure one step in front of the other, boom. But then once I get to the top of the hill and I'm at a fork in the road, that's when I need to make a big change. It's okay. There are different times for these things. So just looking at these different strategies and how I flip flop between them at different times.
Yeah.
That was my thing. And I do want to say we're talking about the gap in the game. I call this a failure, but I made a conscious decision. I was like, I'm not going to rush this out. And maybe this comes from me being part of Rockstar Games where they don't rush their products out. They're like, listen, this is going to come out and it's going to be awesome. But I was actually listening to Hormozy talk about how many times he went over his book. And I was like, there's stuff in this book that's just tripping up and it's not going to be the greatest. I don't want it to be perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm like, if I want to hit somebody in the jaw, I'm going to need to fix this and this. And you know what? That'll just be my beginning of the year thing. I've got literally, how many is it? 40. I'm looking at my little chart here. I've got like 45 edits to do. And I don't mean edits, just like changes to words where I'm like, I need to consolidate these two sections. I need to move this chunk to another chapter. So there's like 45 of those little things to do. And I knocked out 20 in the past. So I went down from 60 to 45 changes to do. And I knocked them down in the past couple of days. So I'm like, okay, this is where I need to chisel away at these little problems and just polish it up and birth that thing for 2025. And that'll be all I do for 2025. Just talk about everything in that book.
I love it, man. Love it. Have an
I'm, I'm,
agenda,
I'm,
brother.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I mean, every 2025, all I'm going to do. This is the only thing I'm saying. I'm not. It's not a resolution. I'm just saying 2025. I'm going to be talking about this thing. Y'all going to be tired of it. Unfollow me now
Y'all.
if you're on my socials.
Love it, man. Love it, man. Shoot. Are you ready to get into this, brother?
Yeah, man. Let's get into this. 2025 is here. We got things to talk about. So this isn't going to be like a predictions, but we're going to have a lot of predictions. We got topics now. We got topics to talk about. We got things that we go over: streaming movies, streaming in general, TV shows, sports, movie theaters, guru life, a couple different things. So we're just going to jump around to some different topics and talk about them and what we predict will happen and what you need to know, what you need to understand, because we thought about this. We might be wrong as hell, but we thought about it. So flame us in the comments as always. If we file something up, we're correct and you're not. So
Flames.
give us the flames. All right, man. Yeah, start us off, man. What are we talking about? What's our first topic of 2025 that we're going to discuss?
A big thing that came up this year and previous years is superhero movies, man. Will they survive yet another year? Put preface here. Next year we have a lot of superhero movies coming out. We have Superman, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts asterisk. We have the Fantastic Four, First Steps. Yeah, Superman, the new DC Studios James Gunn movie coming out. Yeah, man. My thoughts? Let me kick this off and just say it's gonna be interesting, man. I don't know Superman. Superman is gonna be the one that kicks us off and changes the narrative. No, Marvel didn't really have. I'm trying to think. Did Marvel have any movies that came out this year? I'm drawing a blank. That's sad. I'm not sure if MCU had a movie this year because of the quote unquote the strikes and all that, or the actor strikes that we had
Well,
back in 2022. But so now they're going to have Thunderbolts asterisk and have Captain America coming out. So those are going to be their big moves for this year. And of course, DC Studios is launching with Superman. I don't know, Mr. Benja. What are your thoughts about these movies? And do you feel like they're going to take over the Metroplex?
all right, let's start at the top. We just got the Superman trailer, and I have mixed feelings about it. There's some James Gunn weirdness, and what's
As
that
it
going
should
to,
be.
well, as James Gunn thinks it should be. Yeah.
Okay, check this out. I don't want to interrupt your thought pattern here, but I've been checking out Creature Commandos, and you're right. He's got some weirdness. That's pure James Gunn weirdness. If you ever saw Slither back in the day, or some of his, was it Trauma stuff? I haven't watched any of that stuff back in the day, but I saw Slither before he was James Gunn. But he does have a distinctive, you know, personality and writing style and everything. But you know what I was thinking about, man? It's interesting though. It's like weirdness in there, but it works for him, and he's got that weird sweetness in it. There's some real character moments and some real beats in there, but it's masking weirdness. You're right, and sometimes uncomfortableness. Right? Hell, Guardians of the Galaxy made, between all three of them, made $1 billion, over billions of dollars, and he was able to create the whole cosmic version, that Thanos and all that stuff, because of James Gunn introduced that to the MCU. There's some mainstream there, and then obviously now he's going to be doing DC Studios with Superman. So I would say it is, yes. Market has proven that he is mainstream.
I got thrown off by Crypto, I got to say. Crypto, the Kryptonian dog, that his. So James Gunn is pulling from older comics, and he's pulling from a lot of stories that have been around. So comics accurate, sure. And he brings a lot of the wholesome Superman that it seems they're pulling from, which I like actually. I actually like that wholesome Superman. Have nothing against the Snyderverse. I think those were great, but this is different.
And pull into nostalgia. So it's got that mix of that theme music, dun, 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 with a little nice little updated
Yeah.
version of that. And I thought it worked, man. And look, if you guys don't know, we're talking about the Superman trailer that was released. We did talk about it last week because we weren't on last week, but it blew up the internet. All the geek and nerd outlets were out there reporting on it. And I just assume you watched it. We didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
I just assume you watched it. Yeah, it worked for me. So that's how I look at it.
So it works. As I said, I have mixed feelings about it. It worked, but I don't know if it's the thing that holds this new DCU together. And that may not be its intention, because he's already throwing in Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl.
That terrible haircut.
Oh, that was a great and terrible haircut on Guy Gardner, by the way. I actually appreciate that. Yeah, as I say, he's throwing in Crypto. So there's a lot of elements that are coming into this. What's the guy's name who changes form? Metamorpho, I believe his name is. He
I
was
think
in there.
Mr. Terrific is going to show up.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific. So he's throwing a lot in there and giving himself a lot of ways to spawn from there. And after this, it's already announced that Supergirl's coming next, which it's like, oh, you weren't going to go with Wonder Woman, or Supergirl's coming up next. As I said, he's changing things up. It may be cool, may be fun, maybe grand and glorious, but James Gunn, this is my prediction, if he pulls off a masterful Superman movie, it still may not be enough to take the DCU to the big places it needs to go, because it'll just be weird and novel and interesting. And yeah, that was cool, but I'm not gonna build a franchise off this.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a downward trend right now for superhero movies in general. But I will say this: I think superhero movies, because MCU came in it and drastically changed the movie business. So right now in the movie business, if you don't know, is pretty much you can only have something that's theatrical, which is like a superhero movie or a musical or high price musical or something that makes people want to get out of their seats and go to the movies. Because we talked about earlier, people have video games, they got TikTok, they got TV streaming they can watch. So it's like, what's going to make someone go to the movies? And I still think superhero movies are the ones that can do that. It's just something about those. I think you're right that it may not work. It may keep DC still mid tier when it comes to superhero movies, but I think it's still gonna rise all boats. So we'll see
Yeah,
we'll see Superman do well. We'll see Thunderbolts do well. We'll see Captain Black American Falcon, also known as Captain American 4, do well.
yeah.
So I think we'll start seeing those come back up because I think people miss going to see superhero movies in the theater again. So
Yeah.
that's my prediction.
So what's interesting, I think we've passed the realm of, hey, these superheroes are new and interesting. Obviously, it's 20 years in almost. We've passed the era of I'm going to see this new Batman movie because it's a new Batman movie.
Mhm.
It's okay. What story are you going to tell? What angle are you going to come with? It's like Joker came out, The Batman came out, and I don't know how many heroes you can do that for and just keep on putting it out like that. So, yeah, this year is going to be the year where we start seeing if they can grow out of their current mind, if they can grow out of the mindset that we put them into right now.
Mhm, mhm. And I take that back. Now I'm just drawing blank. The big one obviously was Daredevil Wolverine that came out in 2024, and that was one of the top movies of the year.
Dead,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. So that was huge. So I think superhero movies are still there. We're going to have four. I forgot to mention Fantastic Four, right? As
Hmm.
far as MCU. So you got three MCU movies, Captain American 4, Thunderbolts, asterisk. I love saying that because you have asterisk at the end of Thunderbolts, which actually the trailer for that looks pretty cool. So I'm digging that one. And then Fantastic Four, First Flight, and then of course Superman. So you got three more MCU, one DC Studios. So that's huge, man. I think we'll see. That's a lot on the market again. So we'll see if that's going to drive everything up. But my prediction is that yes, we will see those will probably be the top movies of the year because I think people are ready to go back to the movie theaters to see these movies. Because yeah, there's something about that theatrical need to want to watch movies that are bigger than what they seem. Smaller movies, I don't know. It's just they don't do a lot sometimes. And I think, look, what did well, I think some of the kids' movies, right? Inside Out 2, right? People
Yeah.
love that movie. That did huge. Moana 2, that did huge. But beyond that, some musicals, right? I think Gladiator 2 did okay, but there was no super big movie that kind of supplanted a superhero movie this year, which was Daredevil, Wolverine.
Huh?
Scary. I said Daredevil. I said Deadpool. Excuse me,
Deadpool.
guys. Deadpool or Wolverine.
Is the big blockbuster like that kind of done?
Good point. I'm trying to think. Was there any? I mean, we had Barbenheimer last year, right? It was
Yeah.
Barbie and Oppenheimer, and that was a weird mix of. I think they kind of combination helped each other kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're gonna see that again. They try to make Gladiator 2, they call it Glicket, right? Gladiator 2 and
And Wicked.
Wicked. Yeah, they try to make that a thing, but I don't think that's happening. So I don't know, man. And I was looking at the movies that's coming out next year. I don't see anything that's on that level that's theatrical enough to make people because there's a lot, man. I just went to go see Mufasa. We'll talk about that later, man. It ain't cheap. We
No.
put an article in here about how they're making money. The theaters are making money again because they were actually just raising their prices. There's
Well,
not more
yeah.
people going. So it's like going to the movies is a chore now. Yes, you can get a seat and you set it up, but man, we really had to think about something. Do we just want to play NBA 2K5 some more, or do we want to go to the movies?
Yeah. 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 And Sonic was pretty big too. So I can't forget that one.
Yeah, it's still early. It's not going to get $1 billion though.
Right. So in a related topic, movies, they need to get creative or else. And I'm talking about movie theaters and the whole movie industrial complex, right? You used to have this whole thing where your movie came out, everybody went to the theaters to see it. People paid their money. Opening weekend, it was huge. Went and told their friends. Then you had the DVDs. Then you had the uh, week before the DVDs, you had the pay per view and the watch on demand. And there's this whole process and the marketing and the merch and all that. Now, most people aren't even concerned with movies, and it's becoming more and more of a niche thing. And they're just raising the prices to get their profits in. They're not really improving the experience very much, and which is what we thought would happen a while back. Theo, you saw this, you sent this to me. There was an article from AV Club talking about higher prices, not increased attendance, are apparently driving movie theaters rebound. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you got to answer the question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what they said, the global revenues are expected to reach 30.5 billion this year, down 10% from 2023, which is still itself down 20% from pre-pandemic era. So anything prior to 2020. So the way they're, covering that gap, even though they're down, is because prices have been going up and up. Like I was just mentioning, I just went to go see Mufasa for a family of 5, and I have, check this out. This is a matinee, so it's 25% off. So
Okay.
for a family of 5, plus I have AMC stubs, so I get one ticket for free, right? I get to see one movie free. I get to see 3 movies free a week. So basically, one of my tickets, family of 5, one of my tickets was free, and they're all reduced to 20%. And I had 2 kids going. It was still $60 to
Yeah.
see a movie. That's a lot of money, man, to go see and that doesn't count the popcorn I spent, and candy and snacks. And so you're spending at least triple digits on going to the movies, man. That's crazy. I can remember a time when they had $2 matinees and stuff like that somewhere. What was that? Tallahassee? Remember that? What was that theater we used to go to? The Dollar
Capital
Theater?
Cinemas. Oh wait, no, the one in the mall was the AMC in the mall. That's
Yeah.
right.
No, Dollar Tuesday, $2 Tuesday. I said, "Ooh, okay, I gotta I want to go to movies with this girl. So let me go to this cheap date. Let's go
Yeah.
and get this date in."
It,
Yeah,
it,
man. Them days is ridiculous.
yeah. What's funny is you could, if you were just cool about it, you could watch a movie and then walk out the theater you were in, give a nod to the usher guy, just walk into another movie screening and just sitting there and watch that one. And they were
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever. But
Yeah. We used to
now,
do that all the time. Yeah. With assigned seating, can't do that anymore. But yeah, I used to do that all the time. Yeah.
not the
Oh
same.
man. Yeah,
So,
man. It's crazy, man.
but yeah, people have been talking about this, and movie theaters are doing different things, more luxurious options. You've got the Sinopolis, which does the the fancy seating and the reclining seats with the food and ordering coming out to you while you're sitting down. You've got
Cine Bistro is
concerts.
another one. Yeah, Cine Bistro is another one that does
Mhm.
that. Yep.
You've got concerts and special events that take place. It's like, hey, if you want to see such and such live, go to this theater in your local hometown or whatever, and we'll be broadcasting and have your questions answered by the guests. Like, oh, really? Wow. And you can see Beyonce perform and as a concert experience, whatever that is to you. And you have the things like the Wicked sing-alongs on a more pedestrian level where everybody goes to see Wicked knowing that they're going to sing along. It's what do you do? Do you have a Karate Kid movie where there's a, you know, karate tournament down at the stage before the show? I don't know. It's could be interesting. But movie theaters have to do something creative. Otherwise, I just don't see them sustaining themselves the way they are. It's do or die
I
at
agree.
this point.
I agree. It's just not the cultural relevance that it used to be that you and I remember. I think my kids enjoy it because I just raised them on that. They just know
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna go see a movie together and stuff. But I don't think they're that, what's it called, that Generation Alpha. They could care less. Because I asked them, I was like, "Did your friends go see this movie?" They said, "No, not really." It's got to be like a big event or they're talking about it. I'm just getting a sense of that a lot of kids just don't do that anymore because of the expense. They're trying to make these movies events. You
Hmm.
put it, I don't know if you read that article that we talked about the higher ticket prices, the whole popcorn bucket phenomenon where there's a new movie, they got to have a new bucket. We talked
Silly.
about that. Yeah, the whole Wolverine bucket. He's sticking your hand in his mouth. What was that one?
Yeah,
The one
no,
that
what
was
what
a
what they don't tell you about the Wolverine bucket is that people will pour the popcorn in their mouth from Wolverine's face. It's
hilarious,
yeah,
hilarious. But then the Wicked and then Barbie, the girls dressing up in their favorite outfits to go to the
yeah,
movie. So they're just trying to make these. Then obviously the TikTok, right? If TikTok can grab hold like it did with Megan 2 years ago, remember the dancing robot and people trying to do TikTok dances with the
yeah.
robot. So it's got to Barbenheimer. They got to find what they're trying to find ways to just get you to go to theater by making a thing. And so if they can do that, I think there's a chance. Sonic was a thing. Mr. Benja, I saw Sonic with the kids, right? So we're
Mhm.
watching it. It's about what you expected, nothing special. But I did not know Sonic had so many characters because you would think, man, it was like I was telling my son, you remember with Spider-Man No Way Home where Andrew Garfield came out of the portal and everybody
Yeah.
freaked out. Oh my God. Man, when they showed new Sonic characters, man, in the mid-credits sequence, man, these kids flip their mind. Oh my God. It's just like they did with Shadow got introduced 2 years ago or a year ago or so, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, it's just so many characters in Sonic, right? So they just gonna keep introducing these. So they're gonna be doing Sonic movies for a long time now that I'm seeing this. So anyway, I say that to say, man, making events, selling more popcorn buckets. But I agree. I think continued decreases in box office are here for the foreseeable future unless the marketing gets better and better over time.
But yeah, there are things they can always do, and you can look to other industries. Anytime there's a new sneaker drop, there are celebrities there talking about it. You have signings, meet and greets. If popcorn buckets are interesting, but that's just another weird merch item. I don't know how sustainable the idea of a popcorn bucket is, but what else can you do? Toys, Pokemon cards, shirts, giveaways, and get some interactivity in there. You know what I'm saying? Try to find ways to make people connect with it. That weird little special message that they do at the front of the show, make that a little more real. Hey, listen, I'm here in Long Beach, and that I'll say, oh my gosh, I'm watching this in Long Beach, and it's like one of the actors is in Long Beach talking about the movie. Oh, do something, but just you know what? We need to have a popcorn bucket, except this time we're gonna put caramel corn in it. It's like,
I think about it, movie theaters are a market distribution channel. I think it's a cost thing, right? Logistics thing, trying to figure out what's something that it can mass produce at a lower price. Popcorn buckets are easy right now. To your point, but there's no they're trying to crack that nut, but there's no saying what's going to go viral or not. You can make your movie try to go viral, but you just don't know. So I think they're trying. That's hard. So to your point, I agree between unpredictable nature of TikTok and what it can
yeah,
do make your move go viral or popcorn buckets. There's got to be a middle ground to figure something out.
let me throw this at you. Movie screens are digital and they're basically running off of computers right now. You could have live voting of some kind of poll. So if there's a poll at your theater, it's hey Long Beach, hey Tampa, hey Chicago, New Orleans, whatever, this and this, and one of your favorite actors in the area likes this movie. What's his favorite character? And have a voting thing. I don't know, and have an app. If you win, you walk out theater and get a free shirt from behind the counter. It's a little more logistically weird and it needs to be set up and planned out, but this is definitely not in the realms of impossibility if you look at what concerts are doing nowadays. So
Oh, concerts are doing something like that.
concerts are doing all kinds of crazy things. Tyler the Creator has his Camp Flog Gnaw. You know, it's a whole like experience where people show up and they're doing all taking all these pictures together and they're just hanging out. In fact, you could use a theater to just hang out, but they don't really do that. Tear
That's
down
a
one of
good
those
point.
Yeah, tear down one of those screens and just have a big room in there where everybody's hanging out buying merch. Serious, turn one of those rooms into a merch area. It'll be like Comic Con every time you go to the movies.
So two things. NBA 2K, they have a feature called 2K Live, where it's just interview show, talk show, right? Where you can see the latest of what's going on with NBA 2K. And in the midst of these interview type vignettes or videos, they have voting. So you can actually use your controller and make votes and stuff like that. What do you think of this interview? What do you think Shams is going to predict what's going to happen in the NBA next year? And you can vote on your little controller. And so to your point, the interactive nature of just a viewing experience, right? And we talked about that with Netflix. Remember, was it Boulder Statch or a couple years ago with it? It was like
Bandersnatch.
choose your Bandersnatch. Thank you. Where we could do choose your own your adventure. So I agree. There could be some more innovation with that. And one last thing I want to say: did you ever see Twisters in the movie theater?
No, I didn't.
Oh, they had a scene where basically everybody was in a movie theater watching a movie, and there was a twister coming, and they actually ripped through the movie theater while you're watching the movie, or people watching the movie, and a twister came in while they were watching the movie. And I thought that was hilarious. So they're trying to, without putting extra technology or making it 3D, trying to make an immersive experience. Like what would happen if you're in the theater and the twister came in? And so I thought that was interesting, using
Yeah.
storytelling to make it more interactive. So anyway, those are interesting things.
Yeah, man. Some of those 21 theater or 21 screen multiplexes just need to drop down to 20 screens and turn number 21 into a big old gift shop and photo opportunity session. I think I'm
I
joking.
love it, man. No, I love it, man. I love it. You know what? Speaking of just interaction and just people want to be at home all the time, what about TV, man? Streaming shows. There is some interesting things coming out in 2025. Obviously, we're going to have our, more MCU between Daredevil. Now that's where Daredevil is. Daredevil Born Again is coming out. We have Wonder Man, Marvel Zombies, Iron Heart. But there's some interesting stuff. Video game, movie, TV, Lost of Us season 2, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's another Game of Thrones spinoff coming out. So that got Hot D. They're getting more. Got something else. It's more Game of Thrones stuff. And then what are your thoughts? We don't talk about TV as much. I watch my share of television and streaming. Just the new Squid Game came out
Yeah.
on Netflix. Are we super excited about television on streaming, or just in general?
You know what? I feel like something shifted and people are just like, on it now. And it's like they watch it, they enjoy it, but there's nothing like that. There's no must-see TV to give a throwback. It's, yeah, I'll get around to it if I want, or it's cool, or yeah, my friends watched it and I watched it. I just don't think the electricity for any of this is really there anymore.
I would agree, man. What's it? Skeleton Key, Star Wars. It's pretty
True.
good. Skeleton. See, man, what is going on? See, that's what happens when you record at night. I don't get as sharp on my. Usually, you get on. You like, oh, all the names, man. I'm gonna get it, guys. So sorry about that. Skeleton Crew. I'm watching it with the kids. We enjoy it, man. It's got that Goonies vibe to it, right? The '80s feel. But you're right. I don't think a lot of folks are talking about it. Did you know that Disney Plus just released another What If season 3? No one's talking about it. They've been doing episodes every day since right before Christmas. No one's talking.
Every day an episode of What If. Interesting.
Yeah, What If. They did it last year too.
Okay.
So it's there, but it's just who's talking about it. But you're right. There's nothing. Squid Game is out now, but I don't think too many people are talking about it just yet. So it's there. Maybe it's because it's the overwhelm. It's so much. It's just trying to figure out what is that must see thing. And I was just thinking last year, was there anything I watched this year that was the same emotional high I got from Blue Eye Samurai? Remember that? Watching that, I was like, man, this is good. It was like an episode. I think that the high we got this year was basically, and it was animated too, was X-Men 97. Remember it? That was one we super got excited about. But because I can remember texting you in real time, man, you gotta watch this. And but you're right. There's not, unless someone is telling you this is what to watch, it's almost like it happens in a vacuum and no one cares. So I agree.
Yeah, so I'm going to drop a prediction on this one right quick for any of these shows. I think we're going to, and Daredevil may actually be the one to do this, but I think we need to slow down a little bit. And X-Men 97 was great, but it was fast, man. It was fast and there was a lot of stuff in it. I think we may need to go more to the anime model where you do 4 seasons of 20 episodes in every season and just, hey, listen, we got this long story And it's going to take this guy, it's going to be intense. Don't worry, it's going to be intense, but it's going to take him all these episodes to just get to the beach. And once he's at the beach, he's going to learn how to swim. That's the whole anime series. I don't know. Anime has some dumb topics, but anyway, learn how to swim, volume 1. I think they just really need to pull back on, and this is new, and this is hot, and this is great. Calm down. Just sit with it. Just understand these characters. We're going to be here for a while. I think people are actually looking for a little bit more of that comfort watching where they can just sit back and watch something. And this is why people are still jumping into Naruto and Bleach and One Piece with this 1,000+ episodes. It's, geez, why would you do this? And it's because it's comfortable. And I can't get into anything. I want the DCU to be comfortable, but it's, I don't know if these characters are going to be there next Tuesday. It's what's happening in this world. I don't know. Just give me some comfortable watching, man. Make it intense, but I need to know that it's going to be there and I can rely on it.
What did we talk about a couple years ago? We talked about lean in TV versus lean back TV, or
Yeah.
we'll look at that, what that exact term was. But yeah, I think TV needs to go back to that comfort food version of television, because I find myself, be honest with you, I've been watching a lot of Dexter. I don't know how that happened. I think if there was some new episodes of a new season of Dexter. Did you ever watch that on Showtime at all? Dexter,
How many
back in the
seasons
day?
did I make it to
It was
3? I think
8
I watched 3.
seasons.
Yeah, I didn't watch all
Yeah,
of it.
it's yeah, it was too much. Back then, there was a lot to watch. So when they had a new HBO or Showtime show, I think we all watched it.
Yeah.
But Dexter's been on Netflix for a while. And then I think because they had good ratings on Netflix, Showtime, which is still around under Paramount and Paramount Plus, they started releasing all these new Dexter type. They got a prequel series now. They got a sequel that's coming out for Dexter. And I was like, what's going on? So I went back to watch Dexter. Holds up pretty good, man, compared to what we watch today. Yes, it's got those lapses in judgment, but you know, when you watch shows today, man, there's no cohesiveness in the episode. So there's no theme in one episode. So you can't distinguish an episode from another, right? It's all one big hodgepodge. What they say, 10-hour movie, which sucks. You just want, what's the theme of this episode? So they did that. Plus, every character has an arc. And so sometimes you watch a show, you're like, what's that character? That character is, they don't do anything. They just talk for 2 lines and they give exposition, right?
Yeah.
But every character in Dexter had an arc, even though the main character is Dexter. And I was like, man, they don't make movies, they don't make TV shows like this anymore, man. And
Yeah.
yes, it had lapse in judgment and things like that. But compared to the stuff I've been watching lately, I was like, this is genius. And so, to your point, I said all this to say is I agree. I think older shows will continue to take over our viewing habits versus newer shows because there's just so much content out there. You heard about Suits as a show that neither you or I watched, but because it was on Netflix and it had something like 7 seasons and like 100 sub episodes, it became the number one show on Netflix for a while. Remember?
Yeah.
And because of that, the Netflix effect, they created a spinoff show that's going to pop up on network TV called Suits LA. So we're seeing this time and time again where Netflix, if you look at the top 10 any week, there's some old show that pops up out of the blue and people are watching it. And then how many times I know I do that, sometimes let me click on that. And you go down a rabbit hole, this old show that you haven't watched in 15 years. And that's still good. So that comfort food, man, that's what people want, I think, in their television.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how they lean into that. We know Disney has been talking about making some changes. I'm not sure what the GOT guys are doing, Game of Thrones guys. So it'll be interesting. Just something to keep an eye on.
But then one thing too, I did put an article in there where I said subscribers were overwhelmed. How Disney finally made its streaming business profitable. It was in a Vulture article that was released earlier last week or something like that as we're recording this. They are making their profitability for streaming was initially 47 million August. They in November they announced a quarterly gain of 321 million profit from streaming. Now remember they were losing around $10 billion in streaming. So basically building all this content up for the last half decade, for the last 5 years. They're finally now on the upside. And to your point, less is more, right? Remember that big glut of all these shows that got released by under the old regime, Bob Chapek. The new Bob Iger said, nah, we ain't doing all that. We're going to get one Disney show a year. We're going to do one Moana is supposed to be a TV show. They just reworked that, made a near $1 billion movie based on that. So it goes to show you that they figured out, at least Disney has, how to make streaming profitable. Was already profitable. Disney Plus is now being profitable, and now we're seeing these other streaming services slowly starting to turn the tide against too much TV and really focusing on what they do good. So yeah, we'll see more of that for the future.
That's good. But aside from TikTok, aside from Fortnite, these other games taking time away from streaming and TV, there's this weird part of the internet that no one likes to talk about, but apparently a lot of people are putting a lot of money into. It's the fan service subscription sites. We're talking about OF. And something that people thought was kind of niche and like a side interest has become more and more mainstream. And it's not because the content has gotten any nicer. I think it's because we've just become more desensitized to the stuff on the type of selling of content. And we got to talk about this because this is going to continue to get weird in a lot of different ways where you're paying for friendship, companionship to want. It's not just about seeing a show anymore. It's this weird thing. You scroll around the internet enough and it's, hey, I teach tennis lessons. Oh, cool. You go click on their bio and it has all their links. And so they have an OF account and you're like, oh, that's cool. No shade. It's just a departure for what was traditionally considered what you should be doing on the internet. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways this could go, but I'm definitely seeing the OnlyFans mindset become more mainstream.
Good point, man. Yeah, I'm just on it now, and they got these wholesome titles. What I bought for Christmas, or holiday games, or how to play a ukulele, beautiful British Columbia, holiday crush, Christmas baking, right? So you just think about the titles, you think, oh, wholesome. But don't you, every one of those videos has a beautiful girl in some scantily clad outfit. That's
Yeah.
just, are we selling cookies or cookies? So it's just, what are we selling here, man? So yeah, man, you're right, man. Sometimes you'll be on YouTube, man, and there is a short, and you're like, "Oh, what's this girl talking about?" And then come to find out it's an OnlyFans ad. And so, yes, more aboard that job, man. It's this as a person who has a young son. It does. My wife said he wants a phone. He's only 9, but she's right. It's like a lot of rabbit holes. So you got
Yeah.
the gaming community, you got these OnlyFans, you got betting accounts, you just got all these rabbit holes, that these vices that can just grab a hold of you and don't let go, man. It's just like, that is scary. As someone who doesn't partake in OnlyFans, but I'm very aware of it. It's just interesting how that's becoming more norm, because if you're a hot girl, it used to be you just go to IG and show your wares. Now you're using IG and YouTube to point it to something that's a platform that you will get compensated for
Yeah.
showing your wares.
And you don't even really have to show too much. You just have to tease around. You can still get pretty far, which is interesting. But let me throw this in there. I'm on this one site called Super Creator. There are a lot of male earners out there on OnlyFans, and it's not exactly what you think. A lot of the guys who join OnlyFans fall into other categories. One is the more pimp kind of lifestyle, and the other one was just the extreme personality. I know this artist and he does body painting. So he shows up and I'm on OnlyFans. And I was like, hmm, makes total sense. And he goes through the process of how he selects his models and doing the body painting and the issues and everything. The models are in and out, and he's like the host and the voice. Hey, if you want to see this entire breakdown of how we made this girl into She-Hulk, pay however many dollars. And it's okay, interesting. Tyga is I don't know when this article was put out. What was this? Oh, it's from 2024. Tyga, the rapper Tyga.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's still the top earner on there. He's a hip hop artist and hosts explicit content. Safari, the rapper, is on there making money. Aaron Carter's on there. Oh, I heard about that in passing, but never took it seriously. Aaron Carter provides nude images on OnlyFans. Hmm.
Sure. We talked about the artist not too long ago. She's showing her feet, right? The musician.
Yeah, Lily Allen.
Yeah. Showing her feet, man. So it's just, and then, or no, the other artist, she was showing her R's. That's how they pronounce it there, right? Who did Kate Bush running up that hill. She said, I'm showing my R's on OnlyFans to make some extra money. So yeah, man, I'm glad you brought that to the point. Does that kind of linger into like gurus when we talk about what's happening for 2025? Would you say OnlyFans fit into that guruification of the internet?
Yeah. By the way, really quick, Aaron Carter passed away. Yeah, that OnlyFans trip was a little interesting. I'm sorry, I was looking into that because
Real quick, did you hear about Sophie Rain? She's making $43 million, and I don't know who this girl is. I've never heard of her before till 3 weeks ago when it got announced. She made $43 million, and she made $4 million from one dude on
yeah,
OnlyFans.
so
So
it's amazing. I do know who she is, and here's the thing. It's not like they have these. You had the idea of a corn star, a star in the adult arts or whatever, and then you had this new OF area, and that started to create this gray area because now they're like, hey, we've been you've been following my Instagram all this time, and you see me doing workout videos. Um, see how I film this one special workout where I go to the sauna and get a massage and everything before my big bodybuilding competition. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. All this time, I thought you were just doing videos. So it's this weird gray area, and that's changing everything. So to your questions, yeah, it's fundamentally changed everything, not just in how we see these influencers and people and gurus and things like that, but it's also changing the pricing model. People are so used to OnlyFans is winning with you go on there, you check out these posts and get messages you can buy kind of things. And yeah, we can just go ahead and go into the gurus if you wanted to or something else. But yeah, it's just very strange. And I can't put my finger on everything that's happening, but it's definitely a model that deserves watching.
yeah, man. So basically, just a model. You don't really have predictions per se, but my thing is just this is just a gateway to because I guarantee the OnlyFans folks are also selling crypto, also selling gambling sites. So it's just more the same, right? It's like a gateway into
Oh,
other vices.
yeah, and I'll add on to that. My prediction is that more people are going to start following this subscription model, the sales model, where you go to their OF page or whatever, or their Patreon page, or their Circle, or their Kajabi, whatever, and instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm going to watch you do what you do," or download your TED Talk or your bed talk, whatever. Sorry, I had to
I
throw
love it. We, James, put that in.
if you can find Jay Holiday's bed clip from that video. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Yeah, but that whole model and the acceptance of being able to subscribe to a person is just going to keep on growing. And now, I don't know if in China, what's really big is the salesperson, like a person's running their own shopping network, like the what is it, HVC? I forgot, home shopping channel.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but the home shopping kind of thing where it's like some person standing, hey, we got this new shirt here. We only have 5 left. Go ahead and click that button. Hey, also we have these new cargo shorts that are doing this. And that's a big thing. And more people are starting to do that on these subscription sites where they'll go live and they're like, hey, listen, there's some links below. I'm offering this, or it's on Amazon or somewhere. You pick this stuff up, you get an affiliate link, or you do some marketing for your own products, and it's there. Everybody's becoming a salesperson, not just a personality, not just a guru, but also a marketer, salesperson, branded individual, all around miniature media company and business.
Yeah, we talked about that in media companies. Every person's going to be their own media company. I think you talked about
Yeah.
it as well on this podcast. I totally agree. Yeah, we're seeing the have and have nots in the guru world. But I think I still believe in the, 1,000 raving fans or 100 raving fans model, right? You
Oh
don't
yeah.
need that
Yeah.
many fans to have a decent life. So you're definitely going to Alex Hormozzi's and the Russell Brunsons and the Myron Goldens up on that top tier, but you can still be consistent. Like I was that we talked about before. I found a low level, not low level, lowest level guru, right? But he's been
Wait, you talking about?
consistent with his content.
Wait, you talking about the? Hold on, we're not talking about the pocket watcher, JT, the pocket watcher. No.
He's pretty big time now.
Okay.
Thanks to his his clout drafting. What they call it? Clout chasing. But no, Ashton CEO, and so he
Yes.
you
Okay.
know, is being consistent with his stuff. So I think gurus are. I think ones who just stay consistent. I think it's just going to be, trying to be that big time guru. I think that's done for now. I think we had that point in time during the COVID where people took advantage of it and took off. But now we're having people just being consistent and looking at it as like a job, right? If I'm consistent, putting stuff out there, people will find us. Even our podcast is growing steadily, right? Just being consistent. And I think that's something that we're going to see more niche players. So that means everything's going to be fragmented. People will listen to their own gurus, right? And the gurus will lead them down certain paths, and everybody's in their own bubbles. So we're gonna have more and more bubbles where people are not going to be talking to each other and not understand. Some people are probably talking even different languages. Sometimes when I talk to you, Mr. Benja, the worlds that you bring into my life, I have no clue about stuff like the stuff on Twitch and the streamers and all that,
It's wild.
things that they're doing out there. Yeah, it's almost like a different world. This is how people are living now. It's like a dystopian society. When you come talk to me sometimes, I'm like, wow, I'm still stuck on watching old TV shows on Netflix. On Netflix, man, but it's like a dystopian society out there. When you come talk to me sometimes, man, it's crazy. Yeah.
But
I just see more and more of that just happening. The gurus just being more and more fragmented to smaller and smaller pieces, basically.
yeah, no, totally. But one thing that can help out with all that, it's going to be our next topic, is the AI, the artificial intelligence. We've known it's been coming, and we keep seeing big leaps every year. 2025, Theo, AI gonna do something. What's it gonna do?
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
It's a couple of things that happen with AI. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I think they're coming to the upper limits of what they can train these models on. The goal has tried to get to artificial general intelligence, right? As
Mhm.
AI algorithms. I don't think they can do it at this level because it's becoming, number one, so much more expensive than they thought, right? To run these big algorithms. The training
Mhm.
data is just not there, or if it's there, is now locked behind private companies, right? Who have gotten wise to the game and they don't want to give up their data, right? Did you see that? Did we talk about this, Marcus Brownie, how he did his video on Sora, and he just said, "Hey, so Sora got released by OpenAI not too long ago,
The
so
video
anybody can
creation,
use
right?
it and play with. Yeah, the video creation software we talked about earlier this year. So Marcus Brownlee, the big influencer on technology, he did a big overview over it, and he loved it. But he did caution and said he doesn't know where this training data came from because every time he put in there do a internet technology influencer, they had different folks, different people, different backdrops, but they always had one little plant in the corner. And dude, did I tell you that? Did we talk about this on the
No.
podcast? They always had one little plant in the corner. And he said, I never put in a prompt, I want a plant in the corner. But in my content, I always have that plant in the corner. And
Yeah.
so it was so clearly obvious that Sora was trained using a ton of Marcus Brownlee content
Yeah.
about his permission and all that. And so that brings up the issues of the AI algorithms can't get that data anymore because people are realizing that, number one, they train these algorithms on data that was out there, probably attained illegally. And now these algorithms are looking for more data. People are like, no, you already got enough of our data. You want more data, pay me. So I say this. So when you say, where is this going? So basically two things. Number one, artificial general intelligence probably would not happen anytime soon because they need to get more data to train these models, and they need more access to power and all that to run these models. But I will see a shift into selling us more of these AI agents, which are basically, I would say, intern in a box, right? So you can train it to use what they call computer use to do different models. So for instance, I need to get a spreadsheet created to show my pro forma for my business. I can have an AI bot look at my books account, take that data set and create a spreadsheet pro forma, right? So I can present it to my investors. and it's something the human being can do with a computer.
Yeah.
The AI can do it as well if you train it, or look up or how to set my schedule to travel to Memphis in 2 weeks. Right, you can
Yeah.
have AI do that. So I think that we're going to see a shift toward more AI agents becoming the thing that people find useful with AI, not this path toward this general intelligence where basically they're just a smart, super smart human. You can tell them anything,
Yeah.
because I
S-
think they're not going to
So,
get there.
so more of an integration into our lives as opposed to a counterpart in our lives. So,
Good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's this tool I've been using. It's from Gemini, actually. Oh, your favorite AI
no,
from
mine is
Google.
Bing
Oh,
GPT. Don't
Bing.
trip.
Oh, Bing. Sorry. It's called
I'm that guy.
multimodal. Yeah, multimodal with Gemini 2.0. So it can actually you can share your screen and it can talk to you while you're typing. He said, "Hey, Gemini, read this sentence. Does this give me some suggestions for this highlighted sentence?" And it'll give you suggestions via voice in real time. It's like having a person over your shoulder watching you and looking at your content in real time. And so I've been using that to play with some stuff. I just put in the chat box. Maybe we'll put in the show notes, but that's been cool. Obviously, there are tools. We talked about Notebook LLM, where you can download PDFs and create a podcast from that PDF, right? To play
Yeah.
with and listen to that podcast. So to your point, using AI that's just more integrated into our lives, to how we work, so we can assimilate knowledge faster and quicker, I think is going to be key. Yeah, man. And my prediction is, let's talk about like super smart AI engines and more talk about how we can integrate it better. Because I think there's just so much out there. I'm using probably 1% of the tools, right? I'm sure you're probably using maybe more, but I'm still learning like, oh, how can I integrate this? And that's the hard part. How you integrate AI to make it useful for you. And I think that's where AI agents can help.
Yeah, I have specialized uses where I've tried to find ways to get over certain humps where it's like I have a series, you know how they say fill out this form and then they look over the form and then they talk to you and get back. So I do that with myself sometimes. I have a, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure this out. Here's the situation, da da da. And I just go in there and fill out the form and then paste that into whatever. And we talks back and forth. As far as using tools regularly, I don't use any like specific tools regularly. I may jump on Descript can do certain things with text, and I may jump on and ask AI, hey, what are the hot topics in this text? And it'll say, oh, you can make a video about this, and here's a nice 5-minute clip here. You can do this and that. And it gives me starting points for a lot of ideas. But what I'm seeing and what I'm excited about is how AI is really being integrated into a lot of popular tools. Like I think I mentioned last year, I got online and started asking a chatbot from a company. I was like, hey, listen, I'm trying to do, it was an insurance thing. It's, hey, listen, I'm trying to do this, that, and that. And it started talking to me. It's, hey, I'm AI, but I'm just going to talk to you. I was like, all right, whatever. I signed up for this. Instead of waiting on the phone for a person, I just, let me try this. And I actually got my response back really quickly. And at the end of it, at the end of the whole back and forth session, a real guy jumped online and said, hey, is this can we verify all this? Is this what you want to do? You want to change this with your insurance? You want to go to this status and blah blah blah. All this information is correct. I'm like, yes. He was like, cool. That actual human was online for about 4 minutes. And I was chatting it up with the AI, just wow, this AI is answering all my questions because the AI knows the insurance knowledge base. Duh. So it can just answer questions and get it right back to me. It was just,
But you know what? I was thinking, what if we had our own personal AI that can call the insurance company for us and ask the questions and then come back to us and be like,
or
is
even
this what you
better,
wanted, Mr. Benja?
have an advisor like, hey, listen, your coverage on X, Y, and Z is about to run out. You may want to review
Correct.
this. Do you want me to go ahead and
I
get a
had
pen?
to fill out some loan information, and I had to write a little story about like why I want the money. So yeah, I use Claude a lot more. I'm
Okay.
finding it to be a little bit more business focused, especially when writing emails and things like that. It tends to be a little bit more responsive and faster than that. ChatGPT still gives me this loop. The big thing I like about Claude, if you've played with Claude a lot, but the thing I like about Claude is they always ask a question at the end. So this is the answer you wanted. Now, do you want to do detail on one of these three topics from
Yeah.
what it gave you an answer to? And I said, oh yeah, do number one. And then it'll go deeper into that topic. But I used it to apply for a loan, man. And I was like, okay, this works well. This is I can create little summaries for you. And obviously we know how it can help with creating emails and all that. So yeah, man, I'm trying to integrate it more into my life. I think the only AI tool I ever heard Mosey promote was Hemingway. He talked about how you can get that
Right.
to say certain different grade levels, so you can be a little bit simpler in directing your emails. And so I've been playing around with that. So yeah, man, just trying to integrate it more. I think that's the key of how we can get you more use out of AI over the future.
Yeah. Real quick, have you heard about the digital twins? The AI digital twins?
No, was that?
Okay. So basically, this new technology model is based on an AI structure that says, let's take a model of something that we know in real life, create a twin of it, basically copy all the data or all the relevant points of data, all the variables of information that we need to make decisions, and keep that over here and mess with it. Run experiments, run comparisons, do some trainings, go back and forth on it. So not necessarily cloning a person, but let's say you type a certain way and they say, hey, we're going to create a digital twin of your hands while you type. So you put the camera over your hands and you just start typing really fast. It does this. And then 2 weeks later, you're typing and your digital twin you get carpal tunnel syndrome. Then it starts running simulations on your digital twin of your hands and says, you know what? The way you type this way, you need to hold your hands like this and like that because of the way you in particular type. So before this even becomes a problem, we're going to fix it for you. So they're doing this for hearts, blood reports, brain scans. And so somewhere on some computer is a bunch of variables of data about you. This is where the whole digital twin thing comes in at. And I don't know where this is going, but people are like putting a lot of money into this I think I had a link in it somewhere. Yeah, from Health Tech Magazine. What are digital twins and how can they be used in healthcare?
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah,
it's pretty fascinating.
okay. In
It's all about
healthcare.
prediction too. That's the weird thing. Prediction.
Yeah. Digital twins are virtual replicas of physical object processes that can be used to revolutionize healthcare. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely. Yeah, it came out in April or in Concept Science Direct and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, man. I'll talk about it on my other podcast. Thanks. So I get into more of it. Yeah, because it's just about modeling. Yeah. It's just, you think about those future sci-fi movies, right? They have this whole 3D image of a person or a building or something. Iron Man, he's put together a new suit and he's throwing stuff out, putting it back together. That's like that concept, right? Kind of creating scenarios of how this will perform. We do it all the time with airplanes, things like that. So why can't we do it with the human body, to your point? So I love it. Mr. Benja, man, I got a quick one real quick, and then unless maybe we can wrap it up after that, unless you got some more you want to get into.
No, we're about done.
Yeah, so just sports on streaming. This is my local world. Just, man, sports is the new gold, man, when it comes to getting eyeballs. And so that's why you see more and more money going into sports. NBA signed a $78 billion streaming rights deal. NFL just premiered on Netflix. I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch that at all? Did you take a moment to just see what that was about?
I did not take that
moment. Just to see if it didn't crap out, just the Tyson fight with Paul Tyson fight. That was what I wanted to see, because people have been upset because we didn't know Beyonce showed up at halftime at one of the games doing a whole concert. So that was
right. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah. So yeah, man, they premiered it, and I think, let's see, I'm trying to look it up in real time. I want to see how many people they streamed it to. 200. It was the football, said Beyonce Bowl. That's what they call it. Halftime show was a massive hit for Netflix. The football was too. So they said they streamed it to roughly about 200 countries across the world. And I'm trying to see what were their numbers at. I saw some numbers. They said, I don't have the numbers on this one, but it was something pretty big for them. I'd be curious to see how well it did compared to their other content over time,
Mhm.
because it seems their live content has this big, huge bump, and then it like trails off pretty quickly because people watch it, all eyeballs on me, and then
Mhm.
as soon as it's over, whereas you have stuff like Suits or other TV shows, they'll be like going along for a long time, and then there's a little slight bump up, and it plateaus again, but it came to a higher level. So I'm curious to
Mm.
see how their live content does over time. But I got the eyeballs, man. It looks
So,
like they're probably gonna do more live shows coming, live sport events coming soon.
you know what? It made me think of an interesting crossover that could start happening between gaming and sports. Gaming started to pick up on the season concept a little while ago, over a decade ago, but
Yeah, I saw that.
relatively new to the season concept where it's like, hey, you pay
Yeah.
this money, you're in there for the whole season. As you play, you rank up, you get rewards, you keep on. They threw little bits of Farmville in there. They threw little bits of the sporting kind of thing in there, but you always had these events. And even if you didn't do well, you just show up to the event, have a good time. And it's like, you got this little trophy that says, hey, I showed up at this event, and you're part of this ongoing, fun, entertaining thing. And then next time you're out wherever you're out with your friends, you're like, hey, we all did the event and all was great, man. Did you find the golden pineapple? I found the golden pineapple. It's crazy. So I want to see more of that. Not even a prediction.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now I'm immersed in NBA 2K25. Yes, I saw that season. They say season 3 is about to start. I'm like, what they talking about? And you're right. They got this whole thing. You jump in and you play different games and you can play tournaments and stuff like that. It's just like this whole nother world, man. It's just crazy to me. You can play tournaments in these games. You can make real money. It's just like I look at my 8-year-old son, man. It's just wow. On one hand, just the unlimitedness of what's possible now with gaming, sports, and all this stuff. But then you see all the rabbit holes you can go down, right? That from your interest level. So trying to guide that is always a challenge, right? So to make them stand out for the future. But anyway, so the NFL and Nielsen says 65 million US viewers turned in for at least 1 minute of the 2 NFL games. They said the Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans averaged 24.3 million, and Kansas City versus Pittsburgh, they averaged 24.1 million. So they average over the 2.5 hour games, each of them. So that's pretty good, man. That's huge. And the NBA games on traditional TV averaged 5.25 million viewers per game, and there were about 5 games that showed up on Christmas Day. So sports, man, is still huge, man. It gets the eyeballs, man. There's no other place you can get 20 million people watching at the same time. So that's where you're gonna see a lot of advertising dollars go to. That's why you're seeing sports rights becoming more and more expensive. So that's why streaming is in it, right? So
Yeah.
Netflix has gotten WWE. I think that starts January 6th. They're gonna start having a WWE package. I don't know if they're gonna call it Raw, or they're gonna change the name probably, but they're super excited about that. I think there was some news that they're gonna get women's soccer coming here. Peacock is a streaming service, right? They have NFL playoff games showing up on there now only. So you can't go to ESPN, you can't go to ABC or NBC to watch these games. You gotta go to Peacock. So we're seeing more and more sports on streaming. So my prediction is basically it's going to get to a point where they're probably going to have and not next year. This might be more of a few, but I think we're going to have to see probably one major sport just be exclusively on streaming.
You're probably right. What's hockey up to? All right. Somebody's
Good
got
point.
I was trying to think of a sport that a lot of people watch that could be kind of niche to one platform. Maybe hockey, maybe baseball.
Baseball's getting there. It's got a big deal. This still shows up on ESPN, which is more cable. And that's along the lines of, I think we talked about this a little bit, that the linear television cable bundle, they're going down. More and more of these cable companies are disappearing. I don't know if you saw who's going to spin it off. Comcast is spinning off all these cable channels into this thing called SpinCo. That's what they're calling it. It's basically going to just be this other company, and they're going to try to get a private equity person to buy it and try to sell off for parts. So basically, MSNBC, other channels like that are going to be part of the SpinCo, and Comcast Universal, which owns NBC, but they're going to keep Bravo because the reality shows do well there, and that's it. And the streaming services. So we're seeing the cable bundles going away, and they're just going to just hawk them off and see who wants to buy them for parts. That's where it's going. So I see more and more of streaming be taking the place of cable to take over sports. You still have network television, of course, but I think we're seeing streamers get into more advertising, and they know the eyeballs come from sports.
Yep. That's all I got. Man, that was good stuff. I might start watching sports.
Man, it was. Yeah, man, get back into it, man. Because that's where it's going, man. I'm telling you. Everyone, look, we had a great time talking to you. But look, we do this all the time. So like, subscribe, hit that notification button to learn more about Show versus Business and when we're going to release more content like this, because you don't want to miss anything, Mr. Benja, because this is just a preview of 2025, right? So we're going to do this every week, guys. So this is something that's coming at you. So we're super excited. We've been doing this for a long time. Go check our laws, go look at other previous content, but this is something that we're super excited about as we into season 2025